What up, everybody? It's your boy, DFS Up North, also known as Josh Thomas, and I'm here today to talk to you about the BMW Championship. This is the second event of the FedEx Cup playoffs, and we are at a fantastic course this week at Olympia Fields Country Club, just outside of Chicago, Illinois. And it's fun this week for me because this is a course that we don't play all the time, and there's not a ton of information on it, right? We don't know a ton about Olympia Fields this week, so we get to dive in and really do some not just cursory research, right? It's nice when we do have, like tons of strokes gain data from past events, and we can kind of see, what sort of golfer fits here. But this is similar to like a major, right? Like at Harding Park a couple of weeks ago, where we just don't have a ton of data on it. The 2015 U.S. Amateur was played here, won by your boy, big beefy Bryson, except he was skinny Bryson back then. We had the 2003 U.S. Open where Jim Furyk lapped the field at -8. Second place was -5, and then I think third place was over par, which is crazy to think. And it's going to be a fun test of golf. Now I say that this should play hard. I say that thinking that last week was going to play hard. I didn't think that we'd see I didn't think we'd see obviously what we saw with DJ getting to 30 and just out of control, dominating the field. But I did think that, we'd be at like 15, 16, right? I think that this week we're going to be lucky to hit to that 12, 13 range for a total score for the winner. But hey, I've been wrong before, as recently as last week. So again, this is a really fun test of golf. And we're, when we don't have so much to go on with the course, I really think that one of the biggest edges that can be found in weeks like this is, again, ownership, right? Because it becomes even more of a guessing game in terms of what sort of skill sets are going to be successful here. But the one thing we do have control over is ownership. And you can use that ownership to leverage the field. And again, bar none, nobody's does it better than Fanshare Sports for our ownership. There's a look at the clubhouse, one of the biggest. This is not a church. This is the clubhouse at Olympia Fields, one of the biggest clubhouses in the United States. This is this clubhouse serves 4 different courses. There's the North Course and the South Course, and then 2 more courses at this facility, just outside of Chicago. And it is, one of the top ranked. The North Course is one of the top ranked golf courses in the world. And, that clock tower is something that you'll see, I'm sure, a million times on TV this week. Again, at Fanshare Sports, new and improved lineup generator. I love using the lineup generator here. It's so intuitive and easy to use. We got that course suitability metric, which has been crushing. The new form guide, which I love using. The Taking the Pulse GPP article, which I saw Lee just absolutely smashed last week on that. I think 4 of those guys finished in the top 10, if I'm not mistaken, which is, when we're talking about guys that are priced at where he's rating them up, that is incredible. The under the radar, the Taking Pulse is me under the radar is I was pretty good last week as well, but yeah, that under the radar value plays that Lee does are just fantastic. The showdown model, and again, the best ownership projections in the game. If you are not a member, use that code Josh for 20% off. And actually, I'm going to look at something here. One of the things that you get if you are a Fanshare Pro member is access to our trending topics. And again, in a week when there is not a ton of information out there about this course, or as we would normally see, something that you can do is come check out this trending topic. So what we do is we aggregate all of the podcast articles, things like that from the week, and plug it in here and see what everybody else is talking about, right? So in a week like this where there's not a ton of data, I think that's really important, and it really is an important part of my research strategy to just see, hey, where's everybody else at? And right now we don't have a ton of information in there because it is Monday, but strokes gain off the tee and strokes gain approach really, coming in hot right now. Average birdie percentage, lots of long iron shots, or people are saying par 4s, 450 to 500. In strokes gained putting. The one thing that I think is going to be very, very important this week is the accuracy off the tee. So I think strokes gained off the tee is obviously going to be important, but I really think that finding yourself in the right spots in the fairway is going to be vital. The rough here, as you're going to see in a second when we take a look here at the course, is going to be nasty. So let's talk about the BMW PGA Championship at Olympia Fields. Par 70, 7,366 yards. That is a long par 70, right? That we only have 2 par 5s on the course. And then Stimps at 12.5. So these greens are going to be running pretty fast. Pretty much bent grass everywhere, except we are going to play bluegrass in the rough. And as you see down here where I'm rubbing my little cursor over, 4 inches plus, according to the Golf Course Superintendent's Guide that they put out every week for the tournaments. 4 inches plus rough. It is going to be nasty. I'm expecting if the grass is like this and this course plays how it has over history, we are going to see some big numbers. I am thankful that we are playing this course on a week where there is no cut, right? Top 70 golfers into this week. And like I said, I think you're going to see guys shooting 76, 77, 78. And then if the conditions are right or they're really striking it well, be able to come back with a 68 or a 67. Like I said, when Furyk played here, it was tough. And what we've seen is we do have a little bit of, I guess, the data. We looked at the U.S. Amateur where Bryson won, and I've got the stroke play results from that. But then also Illinois Golf has held a college event here, but even then the scores are not very low. And so some of these guys that have played college golf, guys like obviously Bryson, Maverick McNeely's got experience on this course, guys like Cam Champ, Matthew Wolf. A lot of those guys have played this event or have played this course before, and that might be, maybe a target to look at. I noticed earlier today that there was an LPGA event here earlier in the year. So if you're really going to dive down like narrative street this week, LPGA event in 2017 won by Danielle Kang. All right. Danielle Kang's boyfriend is Maverick McNeely, who has done pretty well here in his college events and then made it to the semifinals or the quarterfinals before losing in the US Am at this event. So, hey, like if you really want to dive down the rabbit hole and jump on Mav McNeely, who actually played pretty well last week, I think there's your narrative street for you. Old design, Willie Park Jr. in 1915, and they really haven't changed much of this course since 1915, except for lengthening and adding some tee boxes, and then they've deepened the bunkers a little bit. But essentially, this course is going to play very, very similar to what it has since way back in 1915. There's 85 sand bunkers. They do a very nice job of putting the sand bunkers in locations in the fairway that you really need to be smart about what you're hitting off the tee. They can make the course a lot longer just by forcing you into some layups. It can mess with your sight lines, similar to maybe like a Pete Dye design, and that you see that, and then the fairway looks even skinnier than it is. And these fairways are not very big to begin with. There's only 2 water hazards on the course, a pond and a creek, but that creek runs through many holes, and it runs through some holes twice, right? We're going to see water balls this week. The water is in play on 9 holes. Green size, 6,000 square feet, not super small, but not super big. With the, we're going to have thin fairways, we're going to have thick rough, and then every hole is going to be tree lined. And if you find yourself in the wrong side of the hole, you can easily be blocked out by a tree or a limb on your approach shot. And that's another thing that's going to make this course play very, very difficult this week. We will see guys in the trees unable to get it there, having to punch out, and now having 195, 75 yards in on their third shot, trying to get up and down for par. There is a 280-yard par 3 this week, which is insane. I'm hitting driver. I'm assuming most of these guys are going to be hitting 3-woods, hybrids, things like that. Some of the shorter guys might end up actually hitting driver here, but the problem with this 280 is that over the green is dead. All right. So you fly this green and get over, you are in big trouble. All right. And it is a difficult up and down. Ideally, right, you want to be on the green 2-putt. I would imagine we're going to see this thing play like 3-4, 3-5 over par this week. We look at some of the results here in the past. In 2003, what do I got for a total here on yardage? So it played a little bit shorter. 7190 in 2003 for the U.S. Open. We're looking at 7,300 this week. So they've lengthened some of these holes, especially and they also changed the routing here. So like this 247 yard par 3 was the 17th hole in 2003, but now it is the 6th hole this year. So it's not going to be exactly the same. But a nice way to start with you are going to get a par 5, but check out this average score, right? 2.382. That means that the course played on average 2.382 strokes over par. I don't think we see it play that tough this year. I mean, these guys are good, but I would imagine we see this course play over par. So bogey avoidance going to be huge. And I really think there's going to be a premium placed on just guys hitting greens and fairways. Not necessarily. I mean, obviously, I think that strokes gained approach is an exponentially better statistic than greens and regulation. But on a week like this, where we're just you need to plot along and get your birdie chances when you do. Finding fairways and greens and maybe just looking at that could be an edge this week, definitely. So only 441 birdies in 2003, and then 974 bogeys. So anytime we see double the bogeys of birdies, we are definitely in trouble. And there is some easy holes here, right? There's a couple of these par fives are going to play easy. They're going to play under par. There is, but outside of that, you're really looking at, maybe a short par three and a couple of par fours that you're just gonna have to, really, really ball strike it on. We look at 2015 US Am. This is the stroke play again. Bryson won this event, but Robbie Shelton, hey, he's got some success here. He's in this week, and then you have North Course and South Course. But guys played both. But what do we know about Robbie Shelton, right? That he can score. Ryan Ruffles is super long, so maybe there might be an edge in on distance here. But again, it's really hard to glean kind of anything from this, right? So this is what the new scorecard looks like. Par five, they are actually going to likely play this at 626 yards. So I mean, I'm hoping to make five there, right? Like that's a par six for me, and I'm a halfway decent golfer. A short drive, not drivable, but a much shorter par four, and then that like 250 can play upwards of 280, just depending on the day, right? So again, 7.366. It's going to change day to day. There's some days that it might play 74. There's some days that it might play 72, and they're just going to have to adjust. But again, these par fives being over 600 yards. That's a lot. And a 8 now coming in 510 on 18. Again, like this is going to be a very much a battle of attrition this week and who can make the least amount of bogeys. So when knowing that that's going to be the narrative here, I wanted to look at who plays well on very hard courses. So what I did was in the Fanshare dashboard or on the Fanshare Pro research tab, I was able to pull up, we can sort by very hard. Technically it's very difficult, but so what we have for very difficult courses are Augusta, Trump National at Doral, Firestone CC, which we don't play anymore, Shinnecock, Plantation, Albany, Montreux, East Lake, and Isleworth. And what we end up seeing here is, let me get back here. I don't want to get to my wins yet. Is, hey, look who shows up at the top. DJ, right? Plays very, very well on these hard courses. And that should come as a surprise to no one. But I do think that he's going to be pretty high owned this week. Obviously, he can keep it going. It's going to be a hard fade to do, but I think that's definitely a viable play. And then you got your standards, your JTs, your Xanders, your Finau, who could do a big bounce back here. Henley showing up is really intriguing to me. He's playing some good golf right now. Cam Champ, obviously only 2 events, but or 2 things that we're looking at. I think Cantlay is due a big bounce back. I think Webb is a good value play this week. Matthew Wolf and Victor Hovland, both, not a ton of data. We only have 1 event, but show up here. Patrick Reed shows up here. So kind of looking at guys who play these very hard and difficult courses well. My early takes, I just wanted to get to this and talk about this real quick, was I love Kiz this week. The guy just smashes fairways and greens, and he putts the lights out. I think this is a perfect setup for Kiz. He's only 8,400 and obviously playing great golf. You're paying more for I think his ownership is actually going to be down a little bit, because what do we got here? I'm almost going to say, I want to say he's almost the same price as Tiger or just above Tiger. I love this whole $8,000 range this week. I know it's, typically I try to go maybe a little bit more stars and scrubs, but I love, Kiz at 84. That's going to keep his ownership down, right next to Harris English, right next to Hatton. I love Scott. I love Hovland. I might be going balanced build this week. I love Cooch, right, who I'm going to talk about here in a second. What do I got if I go 8,900? So if I go Kiz, Cooch, Scott, Wolf, I've got 8,900 left. I can get up and play a guy like Xander at 99, and then I can play Henley. I can play the bounce back for Abe Answer. Man, if that guy can avoid the bunkers, he's in great shape. Jason Kokrak, who I think is a really intriguing play this week. Or I could even play my chalk donkey, Ryan Palmer. I think that Palmer is going to be extremely popular. He is playing great golf, but at 7,600, he's going to be super popular. And again, in a 78-person field, you can get away from the chalk this week. And I really think that is going to be your leverage on the field. And again, Fanshare Pro. Get access. We'll have our initials up tomorrow. You can start building. Their initials are not going to be so far off. They'll update on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, Wednesday night. You'll get updates on that ownership and what everybody's doing. And the best thing about Fanshare Sports is these aren't just guests. Our model is built based on the tag counts and the sentiment ratings of the DFS players and professionals and people who create content out there in the field, right? So if Pat Mayo says that, oh, I really like Matt Kuchar this week, that's going to be a tag. It's going to be 100% positive. It's going to be a positive sentiment rating. And we take that data and aggregate it and use it to build our ownership projections. And literally no one else does that. That is what makes Fanshare the best. So Palmer's my chalk donkey. I didn't even have to change the picture. I didn't even have to change the price for Matt Kuchar this week. I love him again. The guy crushed it last week. Hits tons of fairways, tons of greens. If he can putt a little bit, he is in great shape. Crushed it approach all week last week. I just really think that people are sleeping on him. He was a core play for me last week. He'll be a core play again here at 7,400. So be on the lookout for all of our content out this week. Give me a follow at DFS Up North. You can find us at Fanshare Sports, DK Golf Bargains for Lee Lunas, DK DFS Strength, who builds that form guide every week. And if you want access to all of these great tools and the best ownership projections in the game, use that code Josh for 20% off. Hit us up and I will check you guys out in our Fanshare Sports Discord. All right, have a great week at Olympia Fields this week. I'm looking forward to some green screens come Sunday. Cheers, boys and girls.